Have you ever pushed yourself so hard in the name of spiritual practice that your body started breaking down? Your sleep got worse, and your mind got tired. Yet you still told yourself this must be the right path. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to talk about liberation while quietly living like you are at war with your own nervous system every single day? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to talk about a truth that can feel almost shocking if you grew up believing that practice equals endurance, and endurance equals virtue. I want to place 2 points into your heart right away, because everything we explore keeps returning to them. The first point is that caring for the body is not clinging to life, and it is not spiritual weakness. Caring for the body is compassion and wisdom becoming real on the ground. Because if compassion does not include your own body, it is incomplete. If wisdom cannot guide how you sleep, eat, breathe, rest, and recover, then wisdom is still living in your mouth instead of your life. The second point is that the deepest work is not how much pain you can tolerate. The deepest work is opening your heart capacity. Opening the heart does not mean becoming naive. It means becoming wide enough to hold pressure without turning into cruelty. Wide enough to face fear without turning into control. Wide enough to meet discomfort without turning into self-harm. When the heart capacity opens, karma changes. When karma changes, the direction of destiny changes. Now let me tell you a story. Because this topic is not solved by slogans. It is solved by seeing yourself clearly, and then choosing a different pause in the moment. You normally choose the old one. I will call the main character Aaron. Aaron was the kind of person people admired. He was tough, reliable, the type who could push through anything. He built his life on grit. He believed that if something mattered, you should suffer for it. He did not say that as a dramatic philosophy. He lived it. He worked long hours. He trained hard. He rarely rested. And when he discovered spiritual practice, he brought the same engine into it. At first, it felt like he finally found a purpose bigger than work. He started chanting, reading, sitting meditation. He woke up earlier than everyone else. He stayed up later than everyone else. He tracked his practice time the way other people track a fitness plan. And in the beginning, he felt a strange pride, a kind of clean excitement. He told himself, I am serious now. I am purifying. I am making progress. I am building merit. I am facing life and death. But then, slowly, his body began to whisper. It started with sleep. He used to fall asleep quickly. Now he would lie in bed with his mind racing like a machine that did not have an off switch. He told himself it was normal. He told himself spiritual practice is intense. He told himself the mind is fighting purification. Then his digestion changed. He started feeling tension in the belly. He lost appetite at times, then overeating at other times. He would call it discipline when he restricted food, and he would call it weakness when he gave in. He started living in a constant swing between control and collapse. Then came the headaches, the jaw clenching, the tight shoulders, the chest pressure, the irritability. He became the type of person who could recite words about compassion but snap at someone in traffic. The type of person who could talk about mindfulness but could not tolerate a small inconvenience without anger. And the strangest part was that he did not see this as a problem at first. He saw it as proof. He thought, my practice is strong, so the resistance is strong. The stronger the discomfort, the closer I must be. This is one of the most dangerous misunderstandings on a spiritual path, because it can turn practice into a slow form of self-destruction while still looking noble from the outside. Aaron kept going. One evening, he went to a community gathering. A new person asked a simple question. The kind of question you think you would answer easily. How do you know if you are practicing correctly? Aaron began giving a correct answer. He spoke about discipline, consistency, overcoming laziness, not being attached to comfort. He sounded convincing, but while he spoke, he noticed something in the older teacher sitting across the room. The teacher was listening, But the teacher's eyes looked sad, not judging, not angry, just quietly sad. After the talk, Aaron approached the teacher, expecting praise. Instead, the teacher asked him a question. When was the last time your practice made your heart softer? Aaron froze. He did not know what to say. He wanted to argue, but he felt exposed. The teacher continued. If your practice makes you tighter, more irritable, more proud, more harsh with yourself and others, then something is off. Not because effort is wrong, but because your effort is being driven by the wrong mind. Aaron felt defensive. He said, but the path is not supposed to be comfortable. We should not be attached to the body. We should not be afraid of discomfort. The teacher nodded gently. Not being attached to the body does not mean abusing the body. Detachment is not cruelty. Detachment is wisdom. Wisdom does not destroy the vessel that carries the practice. Wisdom treats the body as a borrowed vehicle you care for, so you can continue to cultivate compassion and clarity. Aaron did not like hearing that, because deep inside, he had built his identity around toughness. If toughness was not the measure of practice, then what was he measuring himself with? The teacher seemed to sense that and said something that went straight into Aaron like an arrow. Some people do not fear suffering. They fear softness, because softness feels like losing control. But true softness is not collapse. True softness is compassion. Compassion is the strongest mind, because it can hold pain without spreading pain. Aaron left that night disturbed. He went home and sat in meditation, trying to calm the discomfort, but his mind kept repeating the teacher's question. When was the last time your practice made your heart softer? He realized he could not remember. Then he remembered a conversation from earlier in the week. His partner had asked him a simple question about dinner plans. Aaron had snapped, not because the question was offensive, but because his nervous system was already overloaded. He was carrying too much pressure, too much self-imposed intensity. The smallest touch felt like an attack. His partner had gone quiet and said, I miss you. You are physically here, but your mind is sharp like a blade. I feel like I cannot breathe around you. Aaron had defended himself. He had said it was stress. He had said he was practicing for the good of the family. He had said he was trying to become better. But now, in the silence of his room, he felt the truth. His practice was not making him better for others. It was making him harder. The next day, he met the teacher again. This time he did not argue. He asked for help. The teacher said, I will tell you the same thing I tell anyone who thinks practice is only endurance. There is endurance, and there is self-harm. Endurance is guided by wisdom. Self-harm is guided by fear and pride. Both can look similar on the outside, but inside they are completely different. How can I tell the difference? The teacher answered with calm simplicity. If your endurance increases compassion, it is wholesome. If your endurance decreases compassion, it is not ripe yet, or it is misdirected. The path is not to become a stone. The path is to become awake. An awake mind is flexible, kind, and clear. Aaron asked, what about the idea of overcoming the body? The teacher said, overcoming does not mean hating. Overcoming means not being enslaved by cravings and fears. But hating the body is just another craving. The craving to escape humanity. The body is where you practice patience. The body is where you practice right effort. The body is where you practice compassion, including compassion toward yourself. Then the teacher said something that Aaron had never heard phrased so directly. If you cannot treat your own body with compassion, how will you treat the bodies of other beings with compassion when they suffer? If you train cruelty toward yourself, you will leak cruelty outward eventually, even if you hide it under sacred words. Aaron felt the weight of it. He realized he had been training cruelty. He had been calling it discipline, but it was cruelty. He asked, what should I do? The teacher said, we start where the real problem is, not in your schedule, in your heart capacity. Then the teacher explained heart capacity in a way that made it practical. Heart capacity is the ability to stay present with discomfort without turning it into harm. Harm toward others or harm toward yourself. When heart capacity is small, discomfort triggers reaction. Reaction becomes speech. Speech becomes conflict. Conflict becomes more suffering. That is karma. When heart capacity is large, discomfort can be held. The mind pauses. The body breathes. Wisdom chooses. Compassion guides. The same discomfort does not become harm. That is karma turning. Aaron asked, "How do I open heart capacity?" The teacher said, "You start by including your own body in compassion. You stop treating the body like an enemy. You stop using practice to punish yourself. You practice the middle way, the way that is disciplined without being violent." Aaron nodded but looked uncertain. So the teacher gave him a simple assignment, not a heroic one. For the next week, do less, but do it with sincerity. Reduce the intensity of your practice by a small amount, and use that time to care for your body in a mindful way. Go to bed earlier. Eat with care. Walk and breathe. Stretch gently. Sit meditation without forcing. And most importantly, watch the mind that calls this weakness. Watch the mind that feels guilty when you rest. That mind is where your suffering is hiding. Aaron went home and tried it. The first night, he went to bed earlier. He lay down and immediately felt guilt. The guilt was loud. "You are lazy. You are wasting time. Other people practice more. You are losing progress." He almost got out of bed and went back to chanting. He felt the urge like a compulsion. That urge was not devotion. It was fear. He remembered the teacher's words. Watch the mind that feels guilty when you rest. He lay there and breathed. He placed a hand on his chest and said quietly, "Rest is not betrayal. Rest is compassion. The body is not my enemy." He did not feel instantly calm, but something softened. The next day, he ate breakfast without scrolling, without rushing. He chewed slowly. He felt how tense his body usually was even while eating. He realized he had been living like a person running from something, even in the kitchen. That day at work, he noticed his impatience more clearly. When someone asked him a question, he felt the urge to snap. He paused. He breathed. He answered more gently. His co-worker looked surprised and said, "Thanks." That small moment gave Aaron a shock. He realized that caring for his body and nervous system was not making him weak. It was making him more kind. This is the point many people miss. When you treat the body with compassion, the mind becomes less reactive. When the mind becomes less reactive, compassion becomes easier. That is wisdom in action. That is karma transforming. Now I want to bring this story closer to you, because you might be thinking, "I am not as extreme as Aaron. I am not sleeping 3 hours. I am not forcing intense schedules." But the same pattern can appear in quieter forms. Maybe you constantly push yourself to be productive, and you call it responsibility, but your body is always tense. Maybe you refuse rest because you feel unworthy of rest. Maybe you use spiritual practice to avoid feelings, and you call it detachment, but your heart is becoming numb. Maybe you keep chasing a spiritual breakthrough, and you call it aspiration, but your nervous system is living in permanent emergency. All of those are ways of dropping compassion for your own body. And when compassion is missing, wisdom becomes dry. Practice becomes a performance. Karma becomes heavier. So let us talk about the deeper misunderstanding under all of this. Many people believe suffering equals purification. That belief is partly true in one narrow sense. Life includes suffering. Facing suffering can awaken wisdom. But suffering does not automatically purify. Suffering can also create bitterness. Suffering can create pride. Suffering can create cruelty. Suffering can create trauma. So what purifies is not the suffering itself. What purifies is the mind that meets suffering. If the mind meets suffering with wisdom and compassion, suffering becomes medicine. If the mind meets suffering with fear and pride, suffering becomes poison. That is the real teaching. Now, some people hear this and immediately worry. Are you saying practice should always feel comfortable? No. Growth includes discomfort. Changing habits includes discomfort. Training attention includes discomfort. The difference is whether the discomfort is guided by wisdom or driven by self-violence. Wise discomfort is like stretching a muscle carefully. It can be intense, but it heals and strengthens. Unwise suffering is like tearing a muscle to prove toughness. It injures and creates long-term damage. So the question is not, do you feel discomfort? The question is, does your practice make you more compassionate? Now I want to bring in another story, because some of you will recognize yourself in it, even more clearly than Aaron. I will call her Maya. Maya was deeply sincere. She loved the Dharma. She loved chanting. She loved meditation. But she grew up with a harsh inner voice. A voice that believed love must be earned. A voice that believed rest must be deserved. A voice that believed if you are not suffering, you are not trying. So Maya turned practice into a court case. Every day she judged herself. If she meditated, she was still not good enough. If she missed a session, she was a failure. If she felt anger, she was impure. If she felt desire, she was shameful. If she rested, she was lazy. She did not realize that this inner judge was not wisdom. It was cruelty. And cruelty has consequences. Her body began to show signs. Her cycle became irregular. Her skin broke out. Her shoulders stayed tight. Her sleep became shallow. She began waking up with panic. She started feeling resentment toward her own practice. Then one day she snapped at her younger brother. He had done something minor, something careless. Maya exploded like a person who had been holding fire inside for years. Afterward, she cried and thought, I am a bad practitioner. She went to see an older nun in her community and confessed everything, expecting a scolding. The nun listened quietly and then said something that Maya did not expect. Your effort is real. Your sincerity is real. But your mind is not gentle. If your mind is not gentle, your practice will become another weapon. Maya asked, but do we not need strictness? The nun replied, strictness toward harmful behavior is good. Strictness toward your own humanity becomes cruelty. The middle way is not soft in the sense of careless. The middle way is soft in the sense of compassionate. Compassion is the right container for discipline. Maya asked, how do I develop that compassion? The nun said, start with your body. Your body is a living being. If you cannot extend kindness to the living being you are, your kindness to others will always be fragile. Maya felt something open and also something resist. She had never thought of her body as a being worthy of compassion. She had thought of it as an obstacle. The nun continued, when use it, to use it like you are forcing a prisoner to behave, or to use it like you are caring for a child who is afraid. Both can look like meditation. Only one opens the heart. Maya went home and tried sitting with that question. She realized she had been sitting like a prison guard. Jaw tight, breath shallow, shoulders stiff, mind demanding stillness with violence. She softened her face slightly. She allowed the breath to be natural. She said quietly, may I be kind to this body. Something shifted. Not a miracle. A beginning. Within weeks, Maya noticed her speech changing. She was less sharp. She apologized sooner. She stopped demanding perfection from her brother. Their relationship warmed. Her sleep improved. Her body relaxed. Her meditation became steadier. Her destiny shifted not because she forced the universe. It shifted because she stopped training cruelty and started training compassion. This is the point I want you to feel deeply. The body is not separate from karma. The body holds karma. The body remembers. The body expresses the consequences of how you live. If you live in constant inner violence, your body will reflect it. If you live with compassionate discipline, your body will reflect that too. Now let us talk about heart capacity again, because this is the core of the original message. Many people think practice means increasing your ability to endure. But enduring is not the end. Enduring is just one tool. The end is awakening and liberation. Liberation means you are not dragged by greed. Liberation means you are not dragged by anger. Liberation means you are not dragged by fear. Liberation means you can meet life and choose wisdom. How do you reach that? By opening heart capacity. Heart capacity is not a mystical thing. It is built in ordinary moments. When you are tired and you choose not to lash out, heart capacity grows. When you are anxious and you choose not to numb with impulsiveness, heart capacity grows. When you are angry and you choose to speak truth without cruelty, heart capacity grows. When you are ashamed and you choose self-compassion instead of self-attack, heart capacity grows. And when heart capacity grows, the body relaxes. When the body relaxes, the mind becomes clearer. When the mind becomes clearer, you make wiser choices. Wiser choices are karma. Karma shapes destiny. So the deepest work is not squeezing yourself harder. The deepest work is making the heart wide enough that you do not have to become harmful under pressure. Now at this point, I want to address a fear some people have. If I treat my body with compassion, will I become attached? Will I become lazy? Will I lose discipline? This fear is common, especially for people who have survived by pushing themselves. They think gentleness equals collapse, but compassion is not collapse. Compassion is intelligent care. A parent who cares for a child does not let the child do anything. A wise parent guides. That guidance is firm but loving. In the same way, compassion for your body means you guide your life with wisdom. You still keep precepts. You still train attention. You still cultivate patience. You still practice generosity. You still work responsibly. But you stop using pain as proof, because pain as proof is ego. It is ego trying to build identity. Look how much I suffered, therefore I am sincere. Look how little I sleep, therefore I am advanced. Look how strict I am, therefore I am pure. That is not Dharma. That is ego wearing robes. Real practice is quieter. It does not need to prove itself. Now, let me return to Aaron, because his story continues in a way that reveals the deepest shift. After a few weeks of treating his body with compassion, he began noticing something uncomfortable. His mind had been addicted to intensity. When he reduced intensity, he felt restless, almost like withdrawal. This is important. Some people are not only addicted to pleasure, they are addicted to struggle. Struggle makes them feel in control. Struggle gives them identity. Struggle makes them feel worthy. Struggle distracts them from deeper pain. So when struggle decreases, the deeper pain can rise. Aaron began feeling sadness. He began remembering childhood moments when he felt he had to earn love. He remembered teachers who praised him only when he performed. He remembered a parent who said, "Do not be weak. Do not rest. Do not complain." He realized he had been practicing not only for liberation, but also to win an invisible approval, even from the universe, even from a spiritual ideal. He wanted to be the one who endures, so he could finally feel safe. This is where the Dharma becomes real. Because the path is not only about posture and chance, it is about seeing the hidden engine. Aaron saw that his engine was fear. Fear that if he rests, he is worthless. Fear that if he softens, he will be harmed. Fear that if he stops pushing, he will collapse. He brought this fear to the teacher. The teacher said, "Good. Now we can practice." Aaron asked, "Practice what?" The teacher said, "Practice staying with fear without obeying fear. Practice treating fear with compassion. Fear is like a frightened animal. If you beat it, it bites harder. If you understand it, it's often." Then the teacher gave Aaron a simple daily approach. When fear rises, do not immediately add more effort. Do not immediately tighten. First, breathe. Feel the body. Then ask, what would compassion do for this body right now? Not indulgence. Compassion. Maybe it means rest. Maybe it means walking. Maybe it means drinking water. Maybe it means speaking honestly to someone. Maybe it means setting a boundary. Maybe it means sitting in silence for 5 minutes without forcing. Errant ride. He began treating fear like a messenger rather than an enemy. Sometimes fear was telling him he was depleted. Sometimes fear was telling him he needed support. Sometimes fear was telling him he was about to act from pride. Sometimes fear was telling him he was avoiding a difficult truth. As he listened, his life changed. He became less reactive at home. He began helping with chores without resentment. He listened more. His partner felt safe again. Their home grew warmer. His work improved too. He made fewer mistakes because his mind was less frantic. He was more present in meetings. He spoke less defensively. People trusted him. Again, destiny changed through cause and effect, not through magic. Now let us bring this into a broader teaching. Because what we are really talking about is the relationship between compassion and wisdom. Compassion without wisdom can become enabling. You might rest when you need discipline. You might excuse harmful behavior. You might avoid responsibility. Wisdom without compassion becomes cold. You might become strict, sharp, and proud. You might judge others. You might judge yourself. You might become efficient but not kind. The path is the union of compassion and wisdom. When you treat your body with compassion, wisdom becomes more available because your nervous system calms, and a calm nervous system can see clearly. This is something modern people often underestimate. The mind is not floating in the air. The mind is living through the body. If your body is in fight or flight, your mind will interpret everything as a threat. If your body is in chronic tension, your mind will crave control. If your body is exhausted, your mind will become impatient. So part of practice is regulating the body with compassion, not to chase pleasure. 2. Support awakening. Now I want to shift into a story that makes this even more concrete, because some of you listening may feel guilty about caring for the body. You might think, if I care for the body, I am attached. If I care for sleep, I am indulgent. If I care for nutrition, I am worldly. Let me tell you about someone I will call Thomas. Thomas came from a background where spirituality was associated with suffering. He admired people who looked severe. He admired extreme fasting, extreme schedules. He thought holiness meant ignoring the body. When he began practice, he immediately cut sleep. He ate less. He pushed meditation hours. He was proud of his discomfort. But after months, his mind became unstable. He started having strong anxiety. His mood swung. He became easily angry. He began doubting everything. He started thinking the Dharma was not working. He went to a teacher and complained, "I am doing everything, but my mind is worse." The teacher asked, "How are you treating your body?" Thomas said, "The body is impermanent. I do not want to be attached." The teacher replied, "You are not detached. You are obsessed. Obsession is attachment too. You are attached to an image of being beyond the body. That image is ego." Thomas was shocked. The teacher continued, "The Buddha taught the middle way for a reason. You can starve the body and create hallucination. You can exhaust the body and create anger. You can punish the body and create resentment. None of those lead to liberation." Thomas asked, "Then what is the correct approach?" The teacher said, "Treat the body like a temple. Not a temple for worshiping the body, a temple for practicing the Dharma. You sweep the floor. You repair the roof. You keep it stable. Because if the temple collapses, you cannot practice inside it." Thomas began sleeping more, eating more steadily, moving the body gently. His mind became calmer. His meditation improved. He stopped feeling constantly threatened. He became kinder. This is an important correction. Caring for the body is not worldly in a negative sense. Caring for the body is responsible. Responsible practice is compassionate practice. Now I want to speak directly to the part of you that might resist this. The part that thinks, if I am gentle, I will never improve. Improvement does not require violence. It requires consistency and clarity. Think about learning any skill. If a coach screams at you with cruelty, you might push for a while, but you will burn out. If a coach guides you firmly and kindly, you can train for years. Your mind is the same. Your body is the same. If you want to practice for a lifetime, you need compassionate discipline. Now, let me connect this to karma and destiny, because the original theme emphasizes that the true work affects your fate. Many people think fate changes because of external blessings. Maybe money arrives. Maybe a relationship appears. Maybe a problem disappears. But the deeper fate change is the kind that changes your inner default. If your default is tension, you will create tension everywhere you go. If your default is impatience, you will create conflict everywhere you go. If your default is harshness, you will create distance everywhere you go. If your default is compassion, you will create safety. If your default is clarity, you will create better choices. So changing fate means changing default. And changing default requires working with the body, because default lies in the nervous system. It lies in breath patterns. It lies in muscle tension. It lies in how quickly you react. When you practice compassion toward the body, you are literally training a new default. You train the body to breathe rather than tighten. You train the mind to pause rather than attack. You train the heart to open rather than harden. That is fate turning. Now, I want to share something that might feel like a conversation between friends, because this is where the message often lands in the deepest way. There are people who practice for years and secretly become more bitter. They do not admit it. They become strict. They become judgmental. They become proud of their endurance. They talk about liberation, but they cannot tolerate their own emotion. They cannot tolerate other people's mistakes. They cannot tolerate the messiness of life. And then there are people who practice and become warmer. Not perfect, but warmer. Their eyes soften. Their speech becomes kinder. They apologize faster. They listen longer. They care for their bodies wisely. They do not use practice to escape their humanity. They use practice to meet humanity with wisdom. If you ask me which one is closer to awakening, I will not choose the one with the hardest schedule. I will choose the one whose compassion is growing. Because compassion is the sign that wisdom is becoming embodied. Now let me take you into the most practical way to recognize whether your practice is helping or harming. Look at these simple signs in your real life. When you are tired, do you become harsher or kinder? When you are under pressure, do you become more controlling or more clear? When you are criticized, do you become defensive or curious? When you make a mistake, do you punish yourself or do you learn? These are not moral questions. These are karmic questions. They show whether your practice is opening heart capacity or shrinking it. Now, I want to return to Aaron one last time, because his story has a moment that might mirror your own. One night, months into his new approach, Aaron was sitting quietly. His body felt calmer. His breath was slower. His mind was not perfect, but it was less violent. He realized something that surprised him. He had been afraid that caring for his body would make him cling to life. But what actually happened was the opposite. Caring for his body made him less afraid, because when his body was regulated, he did not feel constantly threatened. When he did not feel constantly threatened, he did not cling as desperately. He became more present, more accepting of impermanence, more able to face life and death without panic. This is a subtle wisdom. Sometimes the mind clings harder because the body is in chronic alarm. When you calm the body, clinging decreases naturally. So caring for the body can actually support non-attachment, not because you deny the body, but because you stop using the body as a battlefield. Now let me speak to you about something very tender. Some of you listening are not only tired, you are carrying pain, real pain, loss, trauma, grief, illness, family wounds, shame from the past, fear about the future. If that is you, I want you to hear this clearly. You do not heal by forcing yourself to be strong all the time. You heal by bringing compassion to the places that learned to survive through tension. This does not mean you become weak. It means you become honest and gentle. Gentleness is not giving up. Gentleness is creating the condition where wisdom can grow. Now, I want to close with a long reflection and invitation, because stories are powerful, but your life is the real story that matters. If you have been practicing and your body is breaking down, do not ignore it. Do not romanticize it. Ask yourself with honesty, am I practicing? Or am I consuming myself? Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is sleep earlier. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is eat a stable meal and stop punishing yourself. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is take a walk and breathe in. Let your nervous system reset. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is speak kindly to yourself when you fail. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is stop chasing intensity and start building steadiness. This is not lowering the path. This is grounding the path. Because the path is not a performance. The path is the transformation of karma through wisdom and compassion. And compassion includes your own body. So tonight, I want you to try a simple shift in one moment. The next time you feel the urge to force yourself, pause. The next time you feel guilt for resting, pause. The next time you feel the inner judge shouting, pause. Take one slow breath. Feel the body. Then place one thought. May I practice with compassion. May I practice with wisdom. May I not harm this body in the name of awakening. May I open heart capacity so my life becomes kinder. That one thought is not small. That one thought is karma turning. Now I want to hear from you. Where do you most often become harsh with yourself? Is it sleep? Is it productivity? Is it meditation time? Is it food? Is it exercise? Is it emotion? Is it the need to be perfect? Share your experience in the comments. And if you have had a moment where treating your body with compassion actually made you more stable and kind, share that too. Someone else listening might finally feel permission to stop turning practice into a punishment. If this message helped you, support the channel by subscribing, liking the video, and leaving a comment so more people can find a path that is not about grinding themselves down, but about awakening through compassion, wisdom, karma clarity, and a heart wide enough to hold life without creating more suffering.
Life gets noisy. Work, stress, expectations. Sometimes we lose touch with the quiet part of ourselves. Bracelet isn't just an accessory. It's a small reminder that you deserve peace. You deserve moments of stillness. You deserve to hold on to your inner balance. If one of these bracelets speaks to your heart, you'll find the purchase link in the description below. And even more auctions available on our channel's shop page. Pick home the one that feels right.